And I think we're live.
Yay!
So, Nicole, what are we working on today?
Today we are working on this Bernat Alize Blanket-EZ adult hat. It's just from our new Easy lookbook, which just came out a week or two.
I think 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's a really fun, extremely quick project. So I'm using gray for the video, just because the hat was originally made in black or white, and those colors are a little difficult to pick up on screen. So I'm using gray, and I thought I would just go through how to join to begin working in the round and go over some decreases, and if I have time, I can maybe show you how to do an optional ears.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone watching, thank you so much for joining us. Just leave us a comment. We'll be looking at your questions throughout. We thought this would be a really fun project. It's great if you want something really fast, or if you want to teach someone else how to knit or introduce them to the craft. It's also great for that.
Yes. Okay, so it's the same technique as when you're working back and forth, essentially, except you have to join to work in the round at the beginning. So the loops, the pre-looped yarn here, it's actually joined together at the base of each loop with a binding thread. So to begin working, we snip at the base of one of the loops just to give us a tail that we're going to tie to work in the round. Okay, so if you haven't seen this yarn before, it comes in these loops, and you don't need needles or hooks. You're just pulling the loops through each other in various configurations to make stitches, and it's pretty impressive what you can make with this cool pre-looped yarn. So we need 28 loops to make the hat. So I'm counting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22, 4, 6, 8. So between the 28th and the 29th loop, I'm going to take this tail that I created by cutting at the base of the loop, and all I'm going to do is tie a knot there to create a round loop like that. Okay, and then just to make it easier, after you do the first round, you can stop doing this, but I like to lay it out flat on a table. Make sure that your what we call a foundation row is not twisted. So that'll make sure that all your stitches are laying nice and straight. So we're going to start working in the round from right around, what's that? Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise, yes.
Okay, so with the first loop of our working yarn, it's just like when you're working back and forth. You're bringing the next loop of your working yarn up behind the loop of your project and pulling it through the back. And you're also making sure that that foundation row is not twisted. If it does twist, it's not a huge problem, but just things look nicer and neater if you pay attention to that first round. And then when you pull the stitches through, just give them a little tug up. This is like big, thick, cozy chenille yarn, so it kind of sticks to itself. So the stitches don't slide out very much at all, but it's good to give it a little tug, extra security.
Thanks so much for everyone who's joining us. We've got viewers from Southern California, Puerto Rico, Ukraine, so we're really growing our audience today.
I know, I love it. Hello. We're here in Toronto.
Yeah, we'd love to know where everyone else is watching from. Leave us a comment if you have any questions, or hit that like button, or feel free to share it with anyone that you know that might have tried our pre-looped yarn before, or has, expressed an interest in joining craft. This would be a really fun project.
Yes, yeah. Just within the office, we've seen a lot of people who, haven't really picked up any knitting needles or crochet hooks before, but they sit down and really enjoy working with this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it kind of, like you said, it does spark an interest to expand maybe their skill set, try different stitches with this stuff, maybe try knitting or crocheting. It's exciting.
For sure. So right now you're just working around?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just showing you. I do have a swatch where I've worked up a bunch of rows. And yeah, once you get the first round done, it's much easier to work it, because once you get a couple of a little length, it's easier to. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning of my round. I've done one round of just a simple knit stitch. Oops, Seema, I missed a loop.
Oh no!
It wasn't that far back, and luckily it's very easy to go back.
Oh, which is perfect. Mistakes happen when you're crafting.
Yes.
Especially when you're live.
Yes. They seem to mostly happen when we're live. But I have a what can be fixed must be fixed mentality towards things like this.
Right.
Okay, so when you're working in the round, you would just continue like that, but you may find it helpful because this tail will tell you that that's the beginning of your round, but to use a safety pin, or this is called a locking stitch marker. So it's just a big kind of like a safety pin, essentially, that you can put between your stitches to help you remember. That means that when you get to that point, I'm done my round, I'm working on a new one, and you would just move that up as you work your rounds. So it's just straight pulling the loops through like that for, it is 9 rounds in total through the magic of live video.
So we've got a question actually, Nicole,
Sure.
from Peggy, who's asking, she says that they've seen it in store, but they're a little worried that it might fall apart. So can you explain what's keeping these loops intact?
Yeah, sure. So that's a totally valid fear, but I will tell you that there's no need to worry. So this is a chenille yarn looped together and by a binding thread. It's very strong at the bottom, and when you loop them through, you're essentially it's just like one continuous piece of fabric that, as you can see here, it's really stable. It doesn't have much stretch, like it doesn't have much give widthwise. It's a little bit stretchy lengthwise, but it keeps it all locked in there. Occasionally, like if you have to join a new ball of yarn, it is very easy to tie the ends together and make a secure knot there so that it doesn't fall apart. But as you can see, like, I'm giving it a big tug there. It's also why this is a hat, and it might look a little large and you're thinking my head is not that big, but because like a traditional knit or crochet hat that might have some stretch, this has no give to it. So you basically, if you need something a certain width, that's how many loops you're counting across, and that's going to give you the width. So this hat doesn't have any stretch, but it's, as you can see here, fits the head quite nicely.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, so this is my sample. I've worked my 9 rounds, and I thought I would show how to do decreases. So that's going to give you some top shaping on your hat. So it's the same technique of just pulling yarn through the back of the loop, but to do a decrease, if you've knit before, then maybe knit 2 together or purl 2 together. This is the same technique. You're taking your next 2 loops, you're placing the first one over top of the second one to create kind of one double loop, and then bringing the loop from your working yarn and bringing it through both loops from behind. So you've decreased 1 stitch there. So we're going to do that all the way around, except, so we have 28 stitches, we're decreasing 7 stitches. So we do 1 decrease, 2 normal stitches, just pulling the yarn up behind each of the next 2 stitches, and then another decrease. So we're putting this next loop over top of the second loop, creating 1 kind of double loop, and then pulling our working yarn loop through both of them, decreasing a stitch. And then we're working 2 stitches as per usual, and then 2 as 1. So we're decreasing the next one. So I started making this sample this morning. I'm gonna admit, not much earlier than not much longer before we needed to come on here, and I had to stop myself because I was getting too far ahead. So this hat could whip up, I'd say, half an hour, 45 minutes.
Oh, that's perfect. So if you're looking for a last minute gift as well, this would probably fit the bill.
Yes, yeah. And this would be really, we have some kids who like to do this stuff, so this would be a great project for them too, make their own hat.
Yeah, and one thing, we have a guide on our website. We'll pop a link in the comments for hosting an easy party, because we are finding, just in the office, it's been really fun to teach other people. So if you want any tips or want to save on, if you're buying like a bunch of yarn for a party for yourself, we've got a coupon code that's valid right now. So be sure to check out the link that we'll pop in the comments below.
Great. Okay, so I'm almost at the end of my round. I think I have a couple more stitches to do. I have to say, as a knitter and crocheter, I was a little like, you know, about this yarn when I first saw it, but it's so fun, and we've been making so much fun stuff here that it's a really cool yarn to play with and stuff, and find out the new techniques. In this lookbook, there's a lot of cool techniques, like bobbles and cables and like some kind of plaid situation, and
oh yeah, we've got some other videos on our YouTube channel. If you haven't seen them already, we've got a really cool bobble scarf that only takes 2 balls of the easy yarn that's up. We've got a loopy stripes blanket video, and we've got a few more coming in the next couple days. So definitely, if you're interested in giving this yarn a go, check it out. And let us know in the comments like what other videos you'd love to see. We really do appreciate your feedback and hearing what, you know, excites you or what techniques you really want to learn. So definitely let us know.
Yeah. Okay, so I just worked my first round of decreases, and now the second round you're going to work decreases all the way around. So every 2 stitches you're gonna cross them over, lay them on top of each other, and work them as 1. So we're decreasing, we had 21 stitches at the end of our last round. We decreased 7, and now we're decreasing 7 more, 14. Just give some nice shaping.
Yeah, we can see that arch starting to form.
Okay, here we go.
Are we on the 3rd one already?
2, 4, 6, 8, what did I?
Got to count our stitches.
Oh, I missed a decrease, but it's so simple to pull back. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We recently asked people on Facebook to share how they felt when someone interrupted them while they were counting stitches. And people had very strong reactions about that. Let us know how you feel about that. Clearly, maybe I should have let Nicole have her moment.
It's okay. I think my daughter, who's almost 8, she knows, like, I have a certain look on my face when she's coming in to ask me a question and I'm counting. And my tactic is to just, if somebody's starting to ask me a question when I'm counting, I just start counting loudly out loud.
Good solution.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a comment from Patricia Thompson from Sacramento, saying that their granddaughter would like to learn how to crochet. So we can share some links. We've got a beginner crochet program that has patterns and video tutorials for making a hat, a scarf, and mittens. It's really cool. We've got a lot of other beginner friendly videos on our channel, so we definitely check us out.
Mm-hmm. And I love when kids want to learn. It's so exciting. It's like that's when you're most spongy, right? And you're not afraid of just trying new stuff. And
yeah, mistakes are less frightening.
Yeah, mistakes are exciting. Okay, I again have lost track. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Oh, one more decrease. Okay, so now just one more round of decreases, and then we close the top. So I know like knitting in the round is often very seems a little overwhelming maybe for some beginner knitters. So this is a great way to just even get used to the motion of going around instead of turning your stitches. It takes some of that mystery out of stuff.
Yeah, and I think the scale of the yarn and the stitches also makes it so clear. I think when you're learning, you're wondering, what are those V's and what does stocking stitch really look like? And this is that great intro.
Yeah, whenever anybody says, like, look for the V's are here. And like you said, so pronounced. And it's exciting that you can do all the stuff that you do, well, a lot of the stuff that you do with knitting. So you can do blankets and stuff, but it's just...
Yeah. And for any crocheters out there, we do have a few patterns in our Easy Knitting Lookbook that incorporate crochet techniques. So our Mad for Plaid blanket pattern includes a surface slip stitch that gives it that design. And we've also got a cool wall hanging pattern where you're using the loop texture to add texture to your pattern, but you're still using crochet techniques. So if you're not ready to give up, put aside your hook for a day.
Yeah, and like loopy, like textural loopy stitches are so popular in especially like home deck stuff right now. So maybe that stuff's not, like a loop stitch isn't something that you want to crochet, then you can do your stuff in crochet, but then add use easy for the loopy border or textural element. Okay, so I'm at the end, and what we do now is cut the base of the next 2 loops to create kind of a longer tail than we had at the beginning. So again, just in case you missed it, here I'm going to go closer. At the base of the loop, there's that little thread here, and you just snip that. It's just a binding thread, and it opens up the loop, so that gives you a longer tail to work with, so you can weave in your ends. And you're going to feed the end of this loop through these live loops to close up the top.
And for anyone who's just joining us, this video is going to stay up on our YouTube channel, so you can definitely watch and follow along if you're going to give the hat a go at any point.
Okay, and so I have this hole here, and I'm just going to tuck it in here, turn my hat inside out, and kind of pull to keep it snug, and it's going to close up all those loops at the top. And then you can just kind of weave in this end and tie it securely. Or you could use a tapestry needle if you have a tapestry needle. Sometimes, like if you're new to a craft, you don't really have all the accessories and stuff. So if you don't have a needle, especially a needle that's eye is big enough to fit this yarn, you can just use your fingers and just kind of like secure it in there. Take maybe the bumps that are here. Finding a good one. Here's a good one.
That's great. And so we've made a hat. This is pretty exciting, Nicole.
I know. I wish, too bad you can only see my hands because I'm sure it looks fantastic.
Okay, next time we'll have a chance to turn the camera onto Nicole so you can see her modeling the garment. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Feel free to leave us comments, share this video with your friends, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.